Okay, the book details genocidal US policy right around the world, from Latin America to Asia, all in the name of liberalism, which you write about in your introduction. How does all the torture and killing work with the free market and the use of free markets?
This interplay between big American companies and the State Department and the US military is something that's well documented in the cables. You can see all over the world US embassies acting as a sales agent for Boeing, for Monsanto, lobbying to adjust European law, even to create sanctions or other penalties in relation to Europe for not accepting genetically modified organisms or forcing labeling.
Now we know that maybe within a few miles of this embassy, secret negotiations on TTIP, the free trade agreement, are going on. You've issued a reward for information. So one shouldn't see TTIP in isolation to all the killing and torture that's mentioned in the book?
Well, the US empire, and it is correct to use that word, it's not an empire in the classical sense. It's not like the Roman Empire. It's a little bit like the British Empire, but different. It's a modern empire. You wouldn't expect an empire in a modern age to look like an old empire. Now there's a continental expansion of the United States. Yes, it has grabbed other territories like Hawaii and effectively Puerto Rico and Alaska. But the predominant form that the US empire has is an empire of US bases, now more than 1,400 US military bases in over 120 countries dotted around the world, and an empire of trade. And it uses these mechanisms of its embassies, of its military bases, of its presence in organizations like the UN and IMF in order to secure advantageous deals and structures for the largest American companies. Interestingly, not for the average American worker. So you hear about American interests. It's not the interests of the average American that are being pursued. Of course, it's the interests of the companies that are close enough to the government to be able to have their interests reflected in what US ambassadors do around the world.